On this week's show, it's dangerous to go alone. Fortunately, we have Rob Maher of Castle Pixel to guide us through the fantastical world of Blossom Tales. Fire Emblem brings down the houses and launches with some incredible sales figures. Nintendo provides its first details for the Switch release in China. And finally, the Hype Zone taps into your inner geek and helps you build the PC of your dreams. This is Nintendo Dual Screens, episode 110. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Dual Screens, episode 110 for the week of August 5th, 2019. I am one of your hosts, Stephen Fontana, and with me, as always, each and every week, back from Japan, back from the Philippines, he is Andy Asimakis. How are you, Andy?
God, that number keeps climbing and climbing along with my blood pressure every single week.
Accurate. Definitely a thing. And also with us, as I mentioned above, we have Rob with us. What's going on, Rob? How are you?
Hey, doing good. Happy to be here.
We are so happy to have you. I mean, you were one of the crazy inspirational stories, this little game that could, for many of the guests that we've had on this show, we point to your success with Blossom Tales, specifically on the Nintendo Switch. So I cannot wait to dive into that story, how that all came to be, what has happened to you in the studio since then. Can't wait to dive into it. But for those of you that are new to the Nintendo Dual Screens podcast, this is an interview show where Andy and I bring on an industry guest to talk about the indies and Nintendo's past, present, and future. Nintendo Dual Screens posts each and every Monday for your listening pleasure on your podcast service of choice, including iHeartRadio and Spotify, and also, of course, on our YouTube channel. And you could find every episode from, I think it was episode 100 and on dualscreens.com. If you want to support our show, you can do so on Patreon by going to patreon.com/NDSpodcast, just like our Patreon producer, the Grandmaster himself, Alex Gonzalez. Thank you so much, Alex. We cannot continue to grow without your support. We have some new Patreon supporters that have joined in the past couple of weeks that are now in our Discord, chatting it up with our indie devs and each other. It's been really great. And remember, every single dollar helps. And for as little as $1, you can join that Discord, that super VIP Discord. Speaking of Patreon, we have something to give away, Andy. Isn't that great news?
It's the best news ever.
It is the best news, isn't it?
Best part of the week, giving away free shit on this show.
That's right. Last week's episode was all about the Messenger. We had Thierry Boulanger on the show, talking all about the Messenger, and it was fucking awesome. It was one of the most how would you say, one of the most exciting shows that we've done, for sure. But it was so informative. It was a really great show. So no pressure, Rob, but you have a lot of shit to live up to. Okay. So
no problem.
Pull your head out of your ass and let's get going. Okay. All right. So the winner of this week's contest, how do you enter? All you have to do is retweet this episode from our Twitter account. We post it each and every Monday when the show goes live in the afternoon. We post a link to the show, and all you have to do is retweet the show, and you get automatically entered to win. And this week's winner is Afro Cyborg, friend of the show. Congratulations, my dude. You win a copy of The Messenger. Preferably on the Nintendo Switch, but if you don't own one for some reason, which I think you do, we could give it to you for something else. But yeah, next week's giveaway, you guessed it, we're going to give away a copy of Blossom Tales. So there you go. We did it. So all you got to do is retweet this episode, and you get in that. All right? Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this bad boy, Andy. I'm so excited. How about you? Are you excited?
Yes, the jet lag is hopefully at its end. I'm getting there slowly but surely. but I feel your energy and your hype, so I'm getting there.
Yeah, get your balls
slowly
out.
getting out there.
Yeah, get them going. Get those bad boys out and let them swing in the free air because it is going to get real exciting in here. Because one of the best games, especially early on in the Nindies explosion on the Nintendo Switch, was Blossom Tales, a Zelda-inspired, beautiful game. And Rob, you obviously, you knew you had something. But when this thing came out on the Switch, and of course the story we alluded to earlier was the fact that just releasing it on the Switch had made the game's essentially the game's profit in just that. I think it was the weekend, if I remember correctly. So for those who don't know what Blossom Tales is because they were living under a rock, can you give us the pitch for Blossom Tales?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. The old elevator pitch we used to give people was it's kind of like Zelda meets the Princess Bride.
yes, it is. Oh, that I've never heard that one. That one's new to me, and I love it, and I love you, and I love everything. So, Rob,
Well,
what was your role in all of this? Like, what did you handle as far as Blossom Tales goes?
Let's see. I mean, I wore a lot of hats. Game designer, artist, primarily art, level design, story design, a lot of stuff. I mean, I did programming as well. So yeah, a lot of things.
Was this your baby that you blossomed, as it were?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Let's see. I started Blossom Tales like forever ago, years and years ago. Probably like about 7 years ago. Like I originally did a bunch of Blossom Tales artwork, and the development team for it kind of fell apart back then. I was just working with one other guy, and he had to drop off, and so then we made a game called Rex Rocket, which is out on Steam. It was like our first game release, and then decided to pick Blossom Tales back up, and yeah, rest is history, I guess.
So let's talk about the obvious comparisons to The Legend of Zelda. Was this something? Was this kind of like a brainchild, or like a? Was that something you always wanted to make? Did you grow up playing Zelda and say, I want to make one of those?
Yeah, totally. Like action RPGs, like The Legend of Zelda, my like kind of favorite genre growing up. So yeah. I mean, when I was growing up, we actually had a Genesis in the house, so Super NES games, and The Legend of Zelda in particular were kind of these like games I only got to play at friends' houses. So I don't know. I guess I kind of always wanted to like just have The Legend of Zelda like in my house growing up, but I missed it. So I don't know. Blossom Tales might be kind of like filling that gap that was left.
Yeah, it really did. So, so this whole game, it had a bit of a rocky start. So you had a Kickstarter campaign for Rex Rocket, successful, gets funded. Then you move on to Blossom Tales, and you don't get funded. Not as easy the second time around. So then, how did you guys eventually partner with FDG to get this game off the ground?
Yeah, FTG, they approached us. They said, hey, we think this game is amazing. We'll fund you guys to develop it. And so yeah, we did. Working with FTG was amazing. Like they're an amazing publisher. They have like They recently released Monster Boy. But
oh yeah,
the entire FTG team is just great. Like they helped us with like some of the game design, the marketing, like just tons of stuff. They're amazing.
So when they reached out to you, was it in response to the failed Kickstarter, or was it they were going to reach out to you in anyway? Like do you know, like, how did that relationship really begin? Like what was the foot that relationship started on?
Yeah, you know what? I think they actually contacted us prior to the ending of the Kickstarter.
Okay,
so
cool.
They were like, hey, if you guys don't make it, we're definitely interested in this game. And so yeah, that's ultimately what wound up happening.
Was it a hard decision for you guys to make, or was it like, yeah, obviously we're doing that?
Oh no,
Sure.
yeah, we were like totally. We were like, this sounds great. I was like, I was a huge fan of Oceanhorn
Oh, yeah.
when that came out, and so when they hit us up, I was just like, wow, these are the guys that made Oceanhorn. Yeah, of course. They already had like the fan base for action RPGs from Oceanhorn, so we just thought that was a huge plus. Getting a publisher who is pretty well established in action RPGs with Oceanhorn.
So I
Yeah, and
imagine that.
oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I just want to say, I imagine that made the whole Kickstarter situation way easier to swallow because they came in before the realization of not hitting the goal was a reality. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, totally. Definitely was nice having like a safety net. The game wasn't like not made, I guess.
Yeah. Sorry, Andy. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Because I was gonna say, like, they came in to publish, but they also gave you guys notes and helped you make the game better as well when they stepped in.
Oh yeah, totally. They did a lot to shape Blossom Tales over the course of development. Um, so yeah, I mean, all throughout the development, you know, process, we would send them incremental builds with new dungeons. They would give us feedback. Um, and yeah, they're just great to work with. Blossom Tales wouldn't be Blossom Tales without FDG. That's for sure.
What kind of feedback do they give that they are actually that like what are their qualifications aside from publishing a Zelda like what kind of information are they giving you? What kind of feedback are they giving you and pointers?
Yeah, I mean, geez. So our main dude over there was named Johannes. We called him Joe for short. So Joe was kind of like our primary contact point with FDG, and he would do a ton of things. He'd play through dungeons. He'd suggest like enemy designs. You know, level design, map design, all sorts of stuff. Joe would give us his feedback on it. And most of the feedback he gave us was great. And yeah, he would tell us like what would work, what wasn't working. He would collect feedback from game testers as well. So he would kind of summarize all their feedback, check it out himself. I mean, he wore about as many hats as I did. Like he did a lot of this stuff, but it was also, the FDG other staff members as well. They would run through the game and also give feedback on improvements and what was working, that sort of thing.
That's actually it's kind of nice how you have someone that can just step in and not only fund your project, but also give you a way to make it better and improve it and take an active role in the development of the game. And that's really refreshing.
Yeah, totally.
So
was it ever like was there ever any instance where they're like, you make this change, do this? Or was it always like suggestions?
It was always suggestions.
Okay.
Like, I would say, we would like do the original like level designs, dungeon designs, stuff like that. And then, yeah, they would give us feedback mostly. I'm trying to think if there were any instances where they were like, it has to be like this, but I really can't think of any. I guess you could say they're kind of hands off in that regards. Like, they don't become too overbearing, I'd say.
Yeah, that's really nice because the biggest fear I think is like it's still at the end of the day your baby, and then at what point does it stop becoming your baby? It changes so much, but it's nice to hear that they really wanted the game to do well and to be the best version of the game it can possibly be, and that's a great thing. So you guys, you launch on Steam, and things don't go so great initially for Blossom Tales. It kind of gets lost in a lot of other games on the platform.
As
So-
that happens to so
Which
many.
happens to a lot of stuff on Steam.
Yeah.
So kind of talk us through what was that like for you and your team? Like what was the general atmosphere and the mentality when the game had first launched on Steam?
Yeah. I mean, when it first launched on Steam, it was definitely disappointing, you know. And yeah, I mean, Steam is just, you know, it's an ancient platform, right? Like it's old, and there's a lot of games on Steam. So yeah, it released on Steam, didn't do great. We were all pretty bummed about it, but there was the Switch version coming out, right? So that was pretty awesome. Having like a glimmer of hope there, you know. But yeah, at the time of the Steam release, I definitely say we were all a little bit bummed.
Was it always planned to be on the Switch as well? Like not far from the initial launch window on Steam, or was it after the fact? You were like, this should also be on the Switch as well at some point.
You know what? Honestly, I'm not 100% sure exactly when the decision was to bring it to the Switch, but I'm almost positive that it was prior to the Steam release.
Mhm.
So we knew that was in the works.
So
Yeah, I mean,
so it
for-
wasn't reactive then. It was
Yeah.
something that was proactive. Okay.
Right.
I mean, for a game that's, you know, essentially Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, it should have been like on the Switch day one, I feel.
Yeah, no, yeah, totally. But I mean, I always say Blossom Tales is like a Nintendo game, right? Like, I
Right,
wanted
yeah.
to make like a kind of like a Nintendo game. So getting it onto the Switch is like dream come true.
Right. So then you launch on the Switch, and then you double your sales on Steam in like a day, and then you go on to sell a ratio of 20 times higher than on Steam, and it essentially saves Castle Pixel in a sense, the Switch sales. Huge headline. It was like plastered everywhere, and we were just rooting for you guys the entire time. So what was
Yeah.
that like when you see like, okay, it's found its audience, it's successful, and we can go forward and, you know, keep making games.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like, yeah, I remember like the first number report we got, and I was just like, wow, this is happening. It was like this is what it's supposed to be like, you know. So yeah, just amazing. Like everyone, you know, that have worked on the game, like we were all just extremely happy.
And immediately went to go buy yachts, right? I
I was
assume.
gonna ask you how you
Yeah.
celebrated, but
Yeah.
pretty obvious it was yachts.
Yeah, obviously. 100%. Gotta have yachts. That should be a t-shirt for us, Andy. Get
What?
get
Go
them
get-
yachts.
Get them yachts.
Get them yachts. Because we do mention that quite often here.
Yeah, we encourage all of our
Dumb show.
developers who are either launching a game prior to being on the show to get their, you know, their yachts ready for purchase.
Yep.
Because once you're on this show,
We have a yacht guy, you know?
once you're on this show, it always spells huge success for
It's
your
true.
game.
It's true. Massive numbers as a result of
If
this
you
show.
had known, Rob, you know, if you came on the show a while ago, fortunately, you did find success. You know, it's kind of lucky. You lucked out.
Yeah, you
Still.
lucked out that you didn't need us. All right? Because you would have owed us reparations and whatnot
Yeah.
for all our hard work getting this out the door. So, all right, so the game comes out. You guys finally can breathe a sigh of relief. Now, at what point, because we know that this point happens, at what point do you look around the room or even like at your parents or the kids you grew up with? At what point do you look at them and go, hey, I have a game on Nintendo?
Let's see.
And what was that
Yeah,
feeling like?
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it's still surreal, you know. Being like, yeah, I made a Nintendo game, and it wasn't like a bad Nintendo game either. It definitely, you know, it feels great. like I'm a Nintendo, kid at heart, right? So being able to say like, oh yeah, my game was like I remember there's some like IGN list with the top 25 games for the Switch,
Yeah.
and we were on that list twice. We were on it once. We were number 15, and then again we were like, I think we were like number 25. We were like last on the list.
Oh, they're bumping you
But
down,
it
those
doesn't matter.
bastards.
Yeah, it's still awesome just to be able to say, oh yeah, IGN, ranked us at number 15 or whatever. We were right next to Skyrim on the list, which
That
was
does not
awesome.
belong on that fucking list. I'm sorry. I listen. Your game. Like, come on. The game came out in like 2011. Like, enough already.
Yeah,
Enough.
it was so cool. Anyways, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy being able to say that.
That's always one of our favorite questions to ask because we grew up the same way. We grew up on Zelda. We grew up on Mario. We grew up on in the console wars. We grew up in that time, and we all sketched out Mario levels and whatever and Zelda dungeons and tried to make our own little adventures in our notebooks instead of paying attention in school, right, Andy? And you guys live it. You guys did it. You went from those dumb sketches that you did instead of homework to making a game on Nintendo. Like yeah, sure, Steam is great. That's a great achievement. Being able to get a game on the PC, building a game in general is amazing. But when you guys see that stuff on Nintendo, it's got to give you that special feeling, like just like that cozy, like when you think of a memory of a kid as a kid, like opening Christmas presents or whatever, like birthday presents, and feeling that rush of nostalgia and accomplishment and happiness, and I just can't imagine what that feels like for you guys.
Yeah, it's great. It's definitely amazing.
Do you think? I mean, because you kind of came at the right place at the right time, because there was an obvious need for a classic 2D inspired Zelda-like game on the Switch when Blossom Tales came out. Do you think it would be harder to replicate that kind of success in the future with a title for the Switch, like a sort of retro aesthetic kind of game?
I think retro aesthetic games, like I think one of the top games on the store right now is it's like Roboto Cat or something. I'm pretty sure that's got like pixel art in it.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's a Gato Roboto. Yeah, Gato Roboto.
Yeah, that's it. What did I say, Robot Cat? But yeah, I think that's more like the type of game. I think the game, like the art aesthetic's just one thing, and like Stardew Valley, like that kills it.
Right.
But yeah, I do think the timing of Blossom Tales' release definitely had a lot to do with the success. And I think that every day that passes, it becomes more like Steam. Like the more games that go up on it,
right,
the more games you have to compete with. And until Nintendo redesigns its storefronts, it's just going to get harder and harder.
Do you think they could improve their curation process a bit more when it comes to what goes on the eShop, in a sense? Because I feel, like you said, it's becoming a lot more like Steam, where it's just inundated with so many titles, and it's hard to even find the better ones among the pack as you browse through the eShop sometimes.
Yeah, I do feel like they could do some better curation, and yeah, offering like suggested games or like top games in a genre. Just do a series of like top 10 lists for like genres, or indie games. There's just something more than what they have now.
What would indicate something being a top thing? Would it be already having sold copies? Because like I feel like a new game coming out, and that's in a genre that has 10 top games in it already. Like how do you judge that? Like I always thought like the best way for me to find out about a game is through the Nintendo Directs, and when they give you 60 to 90 seconds to really tell us, okay, look at this cool thing, check it out, here's where you could find about it, and here's when it comes out. Like that's where Andy and I get the most excited from. It's not usually like we don't pop open the eShop and go, "Hey, look, this is out today." You know?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's Nintendo, right? So they could pay like a bunch of people just to do like a bunch of Nintendo directs for all sorts. I'm not sure, really 100% sure on what the answer is, but it's got to be something more than what they have now.
Yeah.
Even if just put up some cool. I mean, they do the news stories and they have like their great deals section and sales and stuff like that. But when you're an indie game or any game on the Switch, really, that's like not in the top like soul games or things like that. The only really solid way to find a game is to go to the search bar and like type the name in, and it's horrible, right? So unless you're in like a news story or you're running a sale, and even when you're running a sale now, I mean, you can be like 6 or 7 pages down and like no one even sees it. So,
I mean, we run a podcast and it's hard to find the great games. Like having our finger on the pulse is very difficult when it comes to Nintendo stuff. Like we do have to do some digging. We do a lot of Kickstarter digging. We do a lot of on Twitter, like just finding indie devs and indies, like those. Following those hashtags gets us a lot of information, and Nintendo should really embrace that and like push that stuff forward.
Well, these guys they also can't. We have things like friend codes, so they're living in the past to some extent. So they need to evolve in a lot of ways. And I think, to your point, Rob, like having a much more streamlined eShop to really highlight the games that are really worth your attention. Because there's a lot of great games on there, but there's ones that are just absolute necessities for the platform, and your game is definitely in top 5 of those games.
Oh,
and I think if you own a Switch or loved any Nintendo Zelda game, you should definitely own Blossom Tale. It's like required reading.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. I think you guys, like Andy said, you came at the right time, right place, right time kind of thing. But now, and we know it's going to be a little bit harder for you to get seen. But what do you think your attack would be when you're coming out on for whatever your next title is? How are you going to approach something like the Switch or maybe the PS4, the PSN, or whatever like that? What's going to be your approach going forward now that you've learned some lessons?
Geez, I don't know. Going forward, we're definitely like, from a technology standpoint, we're kind of shifting away from mono game, which is what we used to make Blossom Tales. So
Okay.
We're probably going to go with something like Unity on the tech side, just because it makes it a lot easier for porting and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I don't.
Like, do you think like more? Do you think do you think peeling back the curtain earlier in development to get people excited about something? Like, that's the cool thing about a Kickstarter is you kind of see when a project is funded, you kind of see it evolving over time. That kind of keeps you in the conversation for longer. Do you think like maybe something like that is the key to like be in the conversation leading it up to a release? If you're not getting the love, obviously, from an IGN or a Kotaku or even Nintendo's Direct, if you're not getting that love, creating your own love, as it were, as we all do, as we are all known to do, especially Andy.
Especially me.
Especially Andy. Love thyself. Like maybe that's something that the indie devs need to kind of like focus on. Like, do you see it shifting in that direction?
Oh yeah, games like early access or Kickstarter games. I definitely think that getting your own fan base together and getting fans involved and invested, it does wonders for a game. I mean, if you have a big enough following, whenever you put out an image or anything like that, it's almost like play testing, or like user testing. You get feedback from people on like, oh yeah, they do like this boss. They like the design. They like the way it looks. So the more feedback that you can get into a game, I think the better the game becomes. So, yeah, having as many people like interacting with your game throughout the development process, I would say it's a good thing.
Indeed. Andy?
So, what's next for you guys? I mean, there was a title. Is it Hollow City? It's called, I believe. Are you guys?
Yeah.
Are you
Hollow
guys
City,
still
right.
are you guys still working on that? Is that what's next in the pipeline for Castle Pixel, or something else you guys moved on since you released Blossom Tale?
Yeah, right now we're kind of taking a break,
Mm-hmm.
sort of like.
Buying those yachts, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gotta paint my yacht this weekend.
Gotta get on that.
But yeah, we've been like slowly prototyping Hollow City. Again, we're like using Unity now, so we're kind of like just ramping up on Unity, learning all like the ins and outs of it, putting together like some tech demos. We are using like Hollow City graphics at the moment, so I'm not really sure what we're gonna do after the prototyping phase. We might try to put together a Kickstarter. We might try to do like early access, but we're not really sure yet. But
Sure.
probably will be Hollow City coming next.
Okay.
Gotcha. Is there anything you want to tell people about Blossom Tale, about anything else, maybe going forward on it? Anything you want to tell them while we wrap up this segment?
Go buy Blossom Tales.
Heard that. That's what I was trying to get. That's what I was trying to get at. It's one thing. It's one thing when it comes from us saying it every week, but you got the guy who made it telling you to buy it. Not that that's bias or anything, but I mean, come on.
It's not.
It's not bias. No, not at all.
Yeah, that was like a lot of weeks in a row. We were like, "Oh, Blossom Tale's back in the news. You should all go buy this game right now."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Andy, you know what disappeared from the dock? The releases
What?
of the week.
Oh, it's fine.
So-
we're past it now.
But that is
It's
just
over.
that. But that's everybody's favorite segment. Everybody's.
We just got Fire Emblem and Marvel Ultimate Alliance. So is anything major coming out?
Maybe.
That we should be noting. That
well-
we should be pointing out.
Well, I'm gonna open it up and we'll find out. So
right.
I mean,
While you do that,
you could just buy Blossom Tale instead.
Right. I also want to thank Rob really quickly for being so patient, because we were talking while I was in the Philippines, so that 12-hour time delay.
Oh God, yes.
He wasn't aware of that, but I was like trying to make sure I replied back in a timely manner. I was like, okay, so if it's midnight here, it's okay. I think it's noon over there. Of yesterday.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm doing an email from the future.
Andy, you know what's coming out this week?
What?
DC Universe Online on Nintendo Switch is coming out.
Well, and that's what kills Ultimate Alliance. I'm sorry, Marvel.
Uh-huh.
It's over. You had a good run.
Also, Damsel is coming out. That's a pretty cool one. The Forbidden Arts is also pretty cool. I've heard of these two. I've followed those a little bit.
Okay.
Big one here, Pillars of Eternity Complete Edition.
Oh, that would work really well on the Switch, I feel.
Yep. We're just going over the highlights here. This is an Andy game if I ever saw one. Taimumari Complete Edition.
It's not Cock Robin.
No, it's not Cock Robin. But this actually, I'm seeing pixels, Andy. It looks like anime waifu game, but now I'm seeing pixels. Oh, and we got anime waifu cutscenes.
You know I'm a sucker for sprites. That's why I come
Andy, I think this is going to be. I think this is going to be the one for you this week. I think this is going to be the one that you get in here and you start talking about. I'm going to drop this link in the chat so you can follow along with the bouncing ball if you want to. So there it is. Taimumari Complete Edition, which means it was incomplete at one point. That's essentially what that means. So there it is. The complete edition.
Oh.
Yeah, right. I know. See? Turok 2 Seeds of Evil.
Oh, that's the game then. What were we talking about here?
Turok 2 Seeds of Evil.
There's no other game you need this week.
There's a couple of games that look like they're Andy titles, man. A couple of spooky games here. Welcome to Hanwell. You know that game? That looks spooky. Neverlast, that looks spooky. Don't like that.
Oh, Neverlast. I think I've played that before.
Yeah. Tactics 5, Obsidian Brigade. Friday the 13th, but that's next week. All right. We don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. Sorry, I got excited. Friday the 13th coming up. All right, that's it. Those are the highlights of your releases of the week. And now back to your regularly scheduled Nintendo news report. Rob, we have 4 items that we're going to touch on, and then we're going to get into the hype zone, which is all about those big fucking nerds. Those big nerds, Andy. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Marvel Ultimate Alliance, this is through a little interview here with, I think this was an interview with IGN. Apparently, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, when it was being developed, was too hard, and they had to lower the difficulty.
They should have kept it in.
Yeah, they should have made that an
It was
option.
way too easy.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm playing on Heroic, whatever that means, but yeah. Team Ninja is known for making games that are very difficult, and there was one point when Mike Jones of Marvel Games, told us the game was way too difficult, so we had to make some adjustments. That would have been interesting if we got a Marvel Ultimate Alliance that kids couldn't play.
I wonder what that looked like. Because those games weren't really ever that difficult, but you couldn't just button mash and hope to win. You had to have some level of skill and patience with the game. But
I've been playing the game quite a bit, and what I find the most difficult parts being is it almost turns into a shoot 'em up where you're dodging and weaving through like bombs and all sorts of stuff that's like falling from the sky. It becomes less of a just hack and slash beat 'em up and more of like Diablo-esque where you could see like where enemies' attacks are landing and you kind of like dodge and weave and like get out of the way, and you're bouncing between, if you're playing solo, you're bouncing between the other 3 characters, much like, you know, Ultimate Alliance and X-Men Legends before it. But there's a lot more on screen, and it's a lot faster. The combat is a lot faster. And I also feel like it's a little bit harder because there's no natural combos. Like, I feel like if you could string together button presses and put together really cool combos, it would have been a lot easier. But since you're just balancing light and heavy attacks and then your special moves, it leaves a little bit to be desired as far as that goes. And it can make larger hordes harder to deal with. So I will say that.
yeah, I could imagine even removing the like reviving feature for the fallen characters in your squad.
Mm-hmm.
That could go along with making the game difficult. But like I said, it's not a hard game. It's relatively easy. So I wonder what it was like when they made adjustments, quote unquote. Have you played this game yet, Rob? Or you played a little bit of Marvel Ultimate Alliance?
Wait. I don't think I actually ever played Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Ever?
Did you play the X-Men Legends games?
No, I didn't play those either.
Yeah, they're team-based brawlers, essentially isometric camera angle brawlers, where you know you're mixing and matching different superheroes and their power sets. It's pretty straightforward.
Is it out on Android? Because I did play one Marvel game on my Android. I can't remember what the name of it was.
I don't think the Ultimate Alliance games came out on the phones. I could be wrong though, because Ultimate Alliance 2 came out on everything. Like that game was everywhere. PS3, PS4, it was everywhere. PS2.
It sounds like the game that I played on my phone. I can't remember which one it was.
And that was actually what we were worried about. Remember, Andy? We thought it looked like a mobile game, but it doesn't. It looks great.
A lot like a mobile game when
Yeah.
it first was announced.
Yeah. Well, speaking of hard games here, Fire Emblem Three Houses. It's UK launch sales. They were 15 times higher than Radiant Dawn, which was the previous Fire Emblem game.
Not 20 though. Not 20.
Not 20. Not it ain't no Blossom Tales. You know what I mean? Fuck out of here with this nonsense, this bullshit news.
So it's a flop, is what you're telling me. That's what I'm getting.
It's sold almost double the launch sales of Fire Emblem Awakening and more than double the combined sales of Fire Emblem Fates, Birthright, and Conquest. So this thing, the Switch is where you got to be. You know what I mean?
Switch is killing it.
Switch is
They're
killing
just
it.
absolutely killing it.
Are you a Fire Emblem guy, Rob?
Nah.
Yeah, no. It takes a very special.
I don't think I've ever played a Fire Emblem.
It takes a very special kind of person to get into Fire Emblem like that. They're tough. They are tough. Andy, have you been playing?
I have. Like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of Fire Emblem. It was always not even like a secondary series, more like, okay, I'll get to when I want to play something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm loving it on the Switch.
Yeah.
But I feel it's a huge time suck. But it was nice buying my copy in Japan. That was kind of nice
Oh, that's cool.
to do that. Yeah.
Did you buy like a North American version, or was it like? Did you just change the language? How'd that work?
No, I just bought a copy just to have it.
Oh, you not the one you're playing, just to have. Okay,
Right,
I got it. I can see what you're doing
I
there.
really just bought it twice, essentially.
You dumb idiot. All right. Well, Nintendo giveth and Nintendo taketh away. And that's where we're going to lead to our next story. Andy, take the story away.
Oh, this is a weird one. So Nintendo announced these game vouchers.
Uh-huh.
I think it was, what was the initial
It's
program?
$100
Yeah, then you
for
get
2 games.
Right. So that was announced not too long ago. It was a pretty sweet deal. You could save some money on some really big AAA games.
$20 total.
$20 hairs, as you say.
Indeed.
And now it's over. That offer is done.
Yeah.
And there's no plans to bring it back.
Yeah. Weird thing that they wouldn't just... I don't know. Okay. So they came to an end this week in North America. And there are apparently no plans to ever bring it back. Here's the question, and this is coming from NintendoEverything.com, where they quoted the interview. Will Nintendo Switch Game Voucher special offer return in the future? As of July 31st, 2019, Nintendo Switch Game Vouchers are no longer available for purchase. Previously purchased Nintendo Game Vouchers can be redeemed for eligible digital titles up to 12 months from the purchase date. Nintendo Switch Game Vouchers are not currently scheduled to return, but Nintendo of America is continually evaluating special offers for Nintendo Switch online members. Right, this was something for the online people specifically.
So the weird thing is that this program is sort of indefinite in Japan and Europe, and only Nintendo of America sort of squashed the deal.
Weird.
And I'm wondering if it was pressure, because it is a really great deal when you think about it. 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
who wouldn't jump on this deal? Like,
Right.
if you're Nintendo and you have a Switch, and you have a lot of big games, AAA games, always in the pipeline. You have Animal Crossing coming out soon, Luigi's Mansion 3. So there's things that always on the horizon that I think, as a Switch owner, you're going to want to buy.
Right.
We just got Mario Maker 2 and Fire Emblem. So I think maybe it was abused too much on the North American side, maybe, and they're like, whoa, we got to stop this.
Yeah, maybe. It could be that. It could just be that they wanted to get through, because this came with the online service, like, or maybe not at the same exact time, but it came kind of right before all these games came out. So maybe they just wanted to get a bunch of cash flow up front, so that they can plan for the future. That could have been the reason. And then they're like, okay, we have their money. We're good. We don't need it anymore. But maybe the other regions are less likely to. I mean, Japan's weird. That's a weird one. Unless they just fear getting, people kicking their door and being like, "Why are you taking this away from us?"
Maybe they realize that there's too many high-profile games coming out soon. Like, we have Pokemon coming out also around the corner, so it's like, we should maximize the profits here.
Yeah, but you could use them on pre-orders though. So people were using them on Pokemon anyway.
Right.
Yeah, that's weird. It's weird. Speaking of weird, Nintendo Switch and Tencent, they're doing a thing together in China.
Oh yeah, so Switch is coming to China.
Yeah.
This is a big thing. Like when PS4 launched in China, it was a big deal because China is notorious for what they allow into their country.
Yeah.
And it's this is the first real news we have about Switch and the China release. The announcement didn't really have a lot of details in terms of pricing and release date, but we do know that Tencent, like you mentioned, is providing the cloud service and the servers for the online platform in China. We'll have Breath of the Wild and Odyssey confirmed releases.
Mm-hmm.
And the games will be localized in simplified Chinese.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and lastly, the popular WeChat payment system will be used for eShop purchases.
You mentioned the cloud services, correct? Because I think that's the biggest one.
Yeah,
I was reading but like a different part of it, and I tuned you out. I'm not gonna lie, I completely zoned out there. Much like
I'm
Rob.
sure Rob's already checked
Yeah,
that out.
Rob's doing a Sudoku over there. He's just.
What'd you guys say?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, that's big news for Switch. That's big news for Nintendo's bottom line because China is a huge, massive market.
Yeah, this is all about the money at the end of the day.
It's all about the Benjamins,
launching in
baby.
the market. It's like whatever's happening in China right now politically. Like I feel they don't give a shit. Nintendo. It's like, well, we can stand to sell a lot of units here, and with the Switch Lite on the horizon, it's that's a huge market to tap into.
It's going to be a beautiful thing.
It will be.
Rob, I'm going to need you to brace yourself because the hype zone is going to get real fucking nerdy real quick. Like, we are. You want to talk about? Oh man, you want to talk about the PC Master Race? Woo, baby! You know about them, those hard drives and those drivers and RAM.
Those motherboards.
The motherboards, yeah. Cooling, liquid cooling. Yeah, liquid cooling. You know about your spreadsheets.
Drives.
Yeah, your spreadsheets and your TurboTax. What else you got? Spotify app that crashes quite often. Did I mention drivers? Yeah. Well, Rob,
USB.
Yes, USB, USB
That's
2,
also
USB 3, USB C. All the USBs. We got them all. Rob, you're going to be able to build one. Do you want to build a PC because you can very soon? Because PC Building Simulator is coming to the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Let's give a round of applause because this is just huge news, okay? I'm going to skip down to the third paragraph here. The career mode in PC Building Simulator puts you in charge of your very own PC building and repair business. From your own cozy workshop, you must use all of your technical skills to complete the various jobs that come your way. Customers will provide you with a range of jobs from simple upgrades and repairs to full system builds, which you must complete while balancing your books to ensure that you are still making a profit. And if that doesn't excite you, I don't know what will. John Madden NFL Football 2020, move over, because PC Building Simulator is coming to the Switch. Not that EA wants to support the Switch, but boy, Andy, are you excited for this one?
That puts all the career modes to shame in any other game.
That's what I'm saying.
What this game needs is like an Indian call center DLC where you try to scam customers by installing malware into their systems, and you bilk them for money to further build your empire.
Hello, my name is Sean, and I am calling from Microsoft, and you have a virus.
It's always like two first names. My name is Michael George.
Hi, I'm Michael George, and I am from Microsoft. I am sitting in Indiana, and you have a virus.
Okay, Indiana. I wonder where to get that one from.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to download this exe file.
Please do a screen share with me as soon as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
You have all the viruses.
You've got everything. Throw your computer in the trash. Final paragraph. Does building your own PC seem like an impossible task? Well, PC Building Simulator aims to teach even the most novice PC user how their machine is put together with step-by-step instructions, explaining the order parts should be assembled, and providing useful information on what each part is and its function.
Steven,
So it's even a learning tool.
Listen, I thought we reached peak simulation games with forklift simulation.
Right?
This, again, Nintendo and game developers in general, they always got to outdo themselves.
They
This
do.
is a shining example of that achievement. It's just the industry. This game encapsulates
It does.
game development as a whole.
It does.
How we're striving to make things better and to push the boundaries of what games are and what they can be.
So I want to play a short little game. All right. I want to know what you want to see as the next big simulator game to come to the Switch. It could be one that's already out there, or it could be one that you're just making up. I'm going to start with you, Rob. I want to get you involved in this bad boy because the hype zone cometh. Okay. So, what would you like to see made? What simulator would you like to see?
Okay, I've wanted this forever, but like a really cool vampire sim where you play as like a vampire.
Now, you want this like top-down, like 16-bit style where you're just like trying to avoid daylight and then just sucking people's blood? Or are you talking like Skyrim levels of detail simulator type stuff?
If I were gonna make it, yeah, I'd probably make it kind of like Stardew Valley, but you play as a vampire.
Yes.
You start off with like nothing, right? You sleep in the dirt. You can like get vampire followers by hypnotizing people. There's like skill trees. You unlock new abilities, right? Like I've wanted to make a vampire sim for a while, and that's like a game I want to play.
Well then, one of us in this conversation is qualified to make that happen. That'd be you. I want to see, and rolling along, and I think this would be the best of the simulators. I want to see Pop Figures Factory Simulator, because these things, they make so many of these little stupid things, and I want to put them together. That's what I want to do, Andy. What about you?
That sounds very exciting. Well, the answer is easy. I would do a My Life simulator.
Oh God, no.
Where you have to, week after week, try to maintain this podcast and book guests and try not to commit suicide.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the goal.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I like it. Well, actually, you know what? Podcast Simulator would be a really cool game. I want the guys that did Game Dev Story and all them. What the hell's their name? Shoot.
Or that YouTuber sim that they did also. That was a game that,
Yeah. That would be cool. Podcaster Sim, where you're just trying to. We need guests. Do we spend $20 on Facebook advertisements? I don't know. What do we do?
How's our Twitter handle doing? We need updates.
We're out of space on our hard drive. We need to spend money. Should we start a Patreon? That's really close to home, huh? I'm feeling it.
It hurts a little bit.
It does a little.
Right now, actually.
Oh man, is it my time for Retro Game Club? Oh man, I wasn't prepared for that at all. But don't worry about it. I'm going to do it. Talk amongst yourselves. Why don't you do the pitch? Tell Rob all about Retro Game Club. I'm going to find a game right now that we're going to do.
So Rob, Retro Game Club is a really great game we play every single week on the show, where we pick a game from the GameCube and back. So that's like the limit, the boundary of the games you select. It has to be a Nintendo game, at least on the Nintendo platform. And we give clues. And it's become more of a gotcha game where we try to fuck each other over, essentially. By picking the most obscene, shitty games. I mean, last week or 2 weeks back was Yo Noid for the NES.
I don't think I ever played that.
You should count your blessings.
One of the fortunate ones, then.
Wait, is that the Domino Noid game?
Yes.
That's the one.
Dude, I was just talking about that on Friday.
Yeah, that's the one.
They're gonna put you in the proper mindset. We do get the occasional gem and the occasional proper worthwhile game to pick in this segment, but I feel as of late it's becoming a shit show. We need Steven pick Glover one week, pick Yo Noid.
All right, well, this week is going to be return to form, okay, Andy? Can I at least?
Well, you're pulling a desperation Hail Mary move now, so you're googling whatever you can find.
I got it. No, and you know what? Whatever. I don't want to give it away. But getting the clues together is what's going to be stupid. Okay.
Just read it off Wikipedia.
So this is how it works. Yeah, but I don't know what I could actually. Anyway, so the way it works is you're going to get 10 guesses between the two of you. You're both on a team here. Okay. I'm going to get. Well, you get. I'm sorry, 3 guesses. I'm going to give you 10 clues. That's what I meant to say.
I was going to say 10 guesses.
When you use a guess, that's it. You use the guess. Now you know whatever. We go on to the next clue. The quicker you get the game, the more points you get. So if you get it in the first question, you get 10 points. Second question, 9 points, and so on and so forth. Do we understand the rules?
Yes.
We do.
You're damn right you do, Rob.
Now, Rob, before we get started here, one last thing. I am in the lead, 25-20, so if we lose, we're still winning.
Right.
Right on. You're probably going to lose.
No pressure whatsoever.
This video game was released in 1993 and features real-time battle mechanics.
Okay. Real-time battle mechanics. That's a weird way of saying something.
is it?
Yeah, it is. I feel like when you that phrase is, it's got to be an RPG. I feel real time because, like, is a platformer in real time? Of course it is.
Sure.
So I feel like you're specifically referencing an RPG because I think most of them were turn based back in the day, like on the NES and SNES era. All right, so Rob, we have a good little time frame here. We have a potential genre, could be an RPG, but I don't think enough to guess at this point. So I think we can go to the next clue, if you're okay with that.
Yes, I'll take another clue.
For 9 points. This game is critically acclaimed. Critically acclaimed.
Does it penalize me if I make a guess?
Well, you can always discuss with me first.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So what,
Yes,
what do you
and,
think it
and
is?
the only thing you penalize is you lose one of your guesses because the two of you only get 3 between the two of you, and we go on to the next clue right away. Well, if you get it wrong, obviously.
What are you thinking? What are you thinking there,
I'm
Rob?
thinking like maybe Secret of Mana.
Ooh, that was a good one. I think that was on the show before, if I recall correctly, because we had a developer on. Oh wait, was it on the show? Let me think. I think it was on the show. I think when we did the episode with Pixel Noir, I think we did Secret of Mana that episode.
I have the list. I started the list anyway. Let me see if I can find it.
That is a good guess, though, and I think that did that have a '93 release? It's definitely in the early '90s, that's for sure. Okay,
Okay. All right.
it's a good guess, but I don't think, unless Steven's a dum dum, he forgot about it, and now he's scrambling.
I can't find the Retro Game Club stuff.
We don't keep track. We don't keep track.
No, I
That's why.
did. I did make.
Oh,
a
you
sheet.
did?
Yeah,
Oh,
but I mean,
wow.
it's not. It's like up to like episode 70 or something. But I feel like that would be fine.
Let's go to the next clue.
Okay. Okay.
Is it Secret of Mana?
It is. It is Secret of Mana. It is Secret of Mana.
Yeah.
Rob, you
it
crushed
is.
it, man.
It is Secret of Mana. Yeah. I don't know if we had this game. We may have. I think we did. See, I don't know.
No, because the composer for Pixel Noir is also from Secret of Mana.
Oh, maybe that was Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Whatever. It's a good game. And I was watching somebody stream the remake or the whatever it is, the re-release of
Oh
it. I
yeah,
don't know.
that wasn't a good re-release.
Yeah, I was watching somebody stream that and I was like, hey, this actually, looks like a fun little game.
But I think that should be a case to how not to remake a game in 3D.
Yeah.
It's something got lost in that translation. I'm not sure what happened there, but I don't know.
Somebody made a boo-boo.
Yeah,
that one.
it wasn't a good transition.
Well, that was fun. I like when the guest comes in and is just like, here's the answer, and then
And like this slaps his dick and balls on the table.
yeah, just like bonk. Here you go, guys.
Look at that, Rob. I got a whopping. Is that 9 points?
Yeah, you did. You got 9 points.
Rob, you
problem.
gave me a substantial lead, buddy.
Yeah.
Thank
You
you,
better
sir.
throw me a softball
what I'm
next
here
week,
for.
Andy.
Nah, I'm gonna give you some obscure shit next week.
Remember, folks, Nintendo Dual Screens podcast is part of the Proven Gamer Podcast Network, which includes Trophy Horse, which just celebrated its 400th episode, which I am going to be on. We recorded it live, which it was almost a 3-hour podcast, which is what I did before recording this one. So my brain is officially fried. Game Stuff, a general games discussion podcast, and PG Spoilers, a user-generated review podcast, which you can find really where any podcasts are playing and whatnot. And you go to provengamer.com and find them there. If you want to follow us on social media, we are at NDS Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Batchild27 on Twitter and Instagram, and Andy is at PantsGuy. Rob, where can everybody find you?
Castle Pixel on Twitter, and my Twitter handle is Robbie the Robot, spelled with a 0 for the first O. castlepixel.com is the company website.
Thank you so much for joining us, man. It was a blast having you on here. You're a really cool dude.
No, yeah, totally. Thanks for having me. I had a great time.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep in touch, and hopefully when you got your next thing and you're ready to show it off and you're ready to talk about it, we can have you here again, and we can shoot the breeze and tell all our listeners about everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to join our Facebook group, you could do so at facebook.com/groups/NDS podcast, where we post all sorts of funky, dank memes and have all sorts of fun. You could follow our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/dual-screen-streams, where I stream pretty much every Friday and Saturday. We're going to try and get Andy involved so we can do more weekday streams, because I am burned out. I just can't do the Tuesday, Wednesdays anymore. It's just killing me. Need some family time and whatnot. Special thanks to our contributors, Zazu Pitts of Sourdough Productions for our theme song, 16-Bit Attack. Thank you, Matt Murray of Game Stuff Podcast for our Twitch overlays. Thank you, Dan Clone of Dinosaur Machines and Hit Buttons, and Dan O'Mac on YouTube. He started a YouTube channel now, too, for our Nintendo Dual Screens logo. And thank you, Andrew Douglas, for all of our podcast art. You could follow him at Angimoto, ANGIMOTO. Remember, you could support us on Patreon. And what does Patreon get you? Not only does it get you that VIP Discord access, it also gets you this episode's pre- and post-show audio, or post-show, I should say. Each and every week, we try and give you as much bonus audio as possible, which Andy and I are going to hang out a little bit after this while I'm editing the show, to talk about whatever the hell we're going to talk about. So it's a lot of fun. And you could go to patreon.com/NDS podcast. Now, Andy, before we go, is there anything you want to tell the kids? What do you want to tell the kids before we go?
Well, I just want to thank Rob for coming on the show and also being a part of one of my, again, favorite games in recent memory. You really filled the void, I feel, in the Nintendo library. So again, thank you for making this great game, and
congratulations on the success.
Oh, of course, yeah. Most definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah, totally. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, and we usually announce guests at this point in the show, but again, the jet lag, and I got a puppy now, so life is very hectic as of late. So we'll make the announcement soon on Twitter, hopefully in the next couple of days.
We had somebody lined up; it's just not confirmed, right?
Let's go with that story.
I thought it was. I thought you said you had 2 people lined up. I thought you did. Maybe I'm lying. I don't know. But that's it, folks. That's going to do it for us. This has been Nintendo Dual Screens episode 110 for the week of August 5th, 2019. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Rob. And as always, please be excellent to each other.